Okay, let's solve these two rational number word problems. The first one, on Christmas, the temperature started at 12.2 degrees Fahrenheit, but dropped, which tells us we're going to subtract 20 degrees Fahrenheit overnight. What is the final temperature? Okay, so our problem is really asking us to do 12.2 minus 20. We talked about integer rules. If we have a positive and a negative when we're adding and subtracting, we're really going to find the difference and keep the sign of the bigger number. So when we're subtracting, we normally start with the largest number on top. And I'll notice that this 12.2 right here, it has a decimal, and my 20 doesn't. So I'm going to give it a decimal and add a 0 there, because whenever we add or subtract with decimals, we have to line up those decimal points. Okay, so I'm going to subtract. I can't take 2 away from 0, so I have to borrow. That becomes a 1. That becomes a 10. Again, I have to borrow. That becomes a 9. That becomes a 10. 10 minus 2 is 8. 9 minus 2 is 7. 1 minus 1 is 0. I don't need to put the 0 in the front. And then just bring that decimal down. Again, when the signs are different, we are going to subtract, but then we keep the sign of the bigger number, so it's actually going to have a final temperature of negative 7 and 8/10, or negative 7.8. Second question. Carol has 7.5 pounds of dog food. She'll place the same amount of food into 4 separate containers. How much dog food will be in each container? Okay, so maybe we don't know if we're adding, subtracting, or multiplying or dividing. So let's just think of it something as easy as I have 8 bags. I'm going to give it to 4 people. We know that's going to be 2 bags per person. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we know our answer is going to be something close to 2. And the question's asking, what is 7.5 divided by 4? We learned in class that dividing a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. To make any number a fraction, you just put it over 1. Now the 7.5, we want to make that an improper fraction first. It'll just make it easier. So let's see, 7/2 is the same thing as 14/2 plus a half. I'm just trying to rewrite that fraction right there. So that's 15/2. Another way you might have learned it is 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1, and then you put it all over 2. I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal. Again, dividing a fraction is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. And when we multiply fractions, we just multiply straight across. So 15 times 1 is 15. 2 times 4 is 8. And that's a good answer, but we notice that it's improper because the top number is larger than the bottom number. So how do we convert it to a mixed number? We just take that numerator and we divide it by the denominator. We get, it goes into 1 0 times, it goes into 15 1 time. 15 minus 8, that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 7. And instead of doing a decimal, I'm just going to bring that 7 up and make a mixed number out of it. So 1 and 7/8. To make it easy on my teacher, I'm going to box it in. Again, remember we said 7 is close to 8. So if we started off with 8, we divided it by 4, it should be about 2. 1 and 7/8 is pretty close to 2 pounds of dog food per person.